Hi, this is John Adams, and you're watching Geek of the Ozarks, where we talk about subjects intended to improve your PC computing experience. For this video, I'd like to talk about a troubleshooting technique. It has to do with device drivers. That device driver is a piece of software that sits between your hardware and between your Windows applications, and basically it's the smarts that enables the software that you interact with to control or interact with the various pieces of hardware. And by that I mean a disk drive, a CD-ROM player, speakers, video displays. So those various pieces of hardware, each one will have a device driver, a little piece of software associated with it. Occasionally the device driver becomes corrupted. Once in a while there'll be a conflict with another piece of software, or perhaps you or another piece of software has actually changed the settings on a particular device so that it's no longer compatible. And this is a quick way to do a bit of troubleshooting. What we're trying to do is avoid sending your computer in for service. And the reason for that is because quite often in today's technology, the software is the problem as opposed to the hardware, because we've got very reliable hardware available these days. Let's just get to this. It's a fairly quick and simple step. If you're not familiar with Device Manager, it's just a list, an inventory that your PC has found of all the various components, the hardware elements that go into making up the computer. And I mentioned a few of them. It would be a mouse, a keyboard, a video display, a CD-ROM, things like that. The way you get to Device Manager, quick way is to click on the Start button, the Windows Start button, and then click into the search box and type in DEV, the letters DEV, and you can see from my list up there that Device Manager is at the top of the list, so that's what we're looking for. Let's just click on that, and I got the user account control box, so let me click Continue. And now we get the Device Manager list. So as I said, this is the list of the various hardware components that Windows has found inside of your computer system. And if you just look down the list, you can see disk drives, display adapters, CD, DVD, floppy, excuse me, keyboard, and so forth. Alright, so if you had a wireless card that was perhaps working a little bit flaky, or perhaps not at all, or maybe an audio soundboard that you were having trouble with, this would definitely be a good troubleshooting step. It just takes a few minutes, and like I said, it could save you a trip to the service shop, being without your computer for a week or two, or worse, maybe spending a couple $100 and have them do exactly the same thing. So before you send it off, let's try this. Now, let me just show you a quick one. I'm going to go with the modem here. Show you what it is that we do. First, I clicked on the plus associated with the category, because each of the devices really has a category, and then if you click on a category, you can see I have multiple devices under that category. So you want to make sure that you're working with the right device. Most of them will just have one or maybe two. I'm going to work on the modem here, so I've clicked on the plus sign to expand the category. There's my modem. There's only one in my computer. I've clicked on the actual modem indicator, or I don't know what you call this line of text, but that is the modem device driver that it's representing. So I want to right click on that, and I got this pop-up menu. Now, update driver software, disable, uninstall. These are all the options we have as far as the device driver itself. What we want to do for the first step is to just click on uninstall. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And as I mentioned, it's asking me if I'm sure I want to do it. I'm just going to say OK. And then while it's doing it, I'm going to talk a little bit more. And you can see on the screen that some things are happening. And it's just letting me know that it's uninstalled that device driver software. So basically, it's uninstalled the software. As far as Windows is concerned, that hardware does not exist anymore. And if you tried to interact with that hardware now, you would get an error message telling you that there is no device driver associated with that software. So it's uninstalled, And the next step, now we have a few choices. If we just wait patiently, Windows will eventually do a scan of the hardware, and it'll discover that piece of hardware with no associated device driver program installed, and it'll go ahead and automatically install it. But that could take a little while. Another thing you could do is restart the computer. One of the things Windows does when it restarts is do a scan of the hardware. Okay, so at that point it would also identify that there was a piece of hardware without an associated device driver and then attempt to install it. In this case, we don't want to wait for that, so let's just select any one of the categories, high-level categories, and we're going to do another right-click. And I've only got two options there. One is Properties, and the other is Scan for hardware changes. So when I click on that, it tells Windows to go ahead and do that hardware scan at this point. So very quickly, it does a scan, it finds that piece of hardware, and it just goes ahead and automatically reinstalls that device driver software. So my category of modem is back. If I expand it again, you can see my modem is back, it's installed, and it's ready to work again. Now this does a couple of things. If perhaps, for example, your device driver software somehow became corrupted, whether it was a disk error, another piece of software overrode it, or let's say that you or perhaps another piece of software made some changes to the parameters, the settings for that device, and now you don't know what to change to get it back to the default settings. This is the quick and easy way to correct a number of little problems. And again, these aren't hardware problems we're fixing, this is just software. As with all versions of Windows, the latest, Windows Vista and Windows 7 even, there will be little problems, little bitty nuisance type problems for the most part, that you'll just have to live with because that's what computers do to us. But this is a quick way to at least correct and solve the problem temporarily. Okay, so I just reinstalled it. It basically restored it back to the default factory settings, and now my modem is working the same as it did the day that it came from the factory. As long as I don't have an actual hardware problem, that will almost certainly have taken care of the problem that I had with my modem. So, good troubleshooting tip. I hope you take advantage of that and use that. Feel free to do just about anything. The truth is, even if your computer acts really strange after you uninstall a device driver, one thing that'll happen is if you uninstall the video device driver, it'll go a little crazy. But the fact is, it'll find that device driver and reinstall it eventually, so it'll be able to recover and fix itself. So you don't really need to worry. That's not something that you have to worry too much about. It's a pretty safe troubleshooting step. Yeah, my name is John Adams, and you've been watching Geek of the Ozarks, and thank you so much for joining me.